Do you know that many women tend to be quiet, try to people please, avoid conflicts, fear arguments and criticisms? They keep their thoughts, feelings, and desires to themselves and struggle with communication breakdowns, which prevents them from having happy relationships that they want. Hello, I'm GraceSOULutions Communication Expert, and welcome to Communicates Happily Ever After video series. I will be sharing with you magic phrases that you can use that will help you to deal with communication breakdowns. In this first video, I'm going to be talking about challenges. So before we get started, I want to help you to get this all set up. In the Communicates Happily Ever After video series, you are the character. And in any story, there's the character. And here, you are the character. And you, as the character, will be facing many different components that can happen in stories. And so in the first video, in the Communicates video series, we're going to be talking about challenges. Because as we know, in any story, the main character always faces a challenge. There's always a challenge to overcome. And so since you are the story, you're the main character, I'm sure you have faced some challenges. What do you do when challenges come up? Here's a magic phrase that you can use that will help you to live the happily ever after what it looks like for you when you're communicating, either in your own mind or to the other person. So when faced with a challenge, you can ask yourself this statement: is this thought or statement creating the future that I want? So you're faced with a challenge, right? It could be small challenge, medium-sized challenge, or big challenge. You know, it could be talking in front of one person or talking to a group of people. It could be talking to a family member that you find it difficult to communicate with, or it could be talking to a friend that sometimes there's like a disconnect, or sometimes you're friends, but then as you're communicating with each other, sometimes all of a sudden there might be a misunderstanding that happens. So there's these challenges, and you might say to yourself, you know, like, oh, I can't do this, or I can't talk to this person, or if I say this to this person, he or she's going to get mad at me, or I can't let that person truly know how I'm feeling because he or she is going to think I'm a bad person. These are all challenges, right? You're having a situation where you might have a person that you're having a difficult time to communicate with, and you don't know what to say to that person, or you feel like if you say something to this person the way you want to say it, it might come back and bite you, may come back and cause some more trouble for you, right? I get it. I'm not saying that you go out and automatically share, you know, whatever you're thinking, but just stop yourself, look at the challenge. Okay, I have a challenge with talking to this person, or I have a challenge in letting this person know how I really feel when he or she says something to me, or when he or she says this back to me, or I have a really hard challenge when I tell somebody something and they don't ever show support. They always give me something negative, or they give me a negative feedback. So what do? You can say, well, I can't say what I want to say to this person, or this person never gives me the support I want. Okay. So then ask yourself, is this thought or statement creating the future that I want? You know, you want support from that person, but if you're saying, well, that person never gives me support, well, then you're creating that future. You're creating that by saying that statement, you're creating that future of not getting the support. Or if you're thinking that, you know, if I say this to this person, that he or she is not going to like me. So that thought is creating that the future of, if I say something, he or she is not going to like me. But is that the future that you want to create? Or, you know, I say this and that person's not going to like me? Is that the future that you want to create for yourself? Or is it okay to say, I can say my feelings to this person, and if that person, accepts it, great. If that person doesn't accept it, that's okay too. Each of the person, me included, you included, we all have our right and free will to think the way we want to, right? So it's about what future do you want to create for yourself? If you want to create a future where you're being supported, or you want to create a future that, I want to share something and I'm okay if that person doesn't accept it. Whatever challenge, and it could be like, I can't public speak, I'm so nervous and nobody's going to want to listen to me. Well, again, is that thought in your head, or the statement that you said that nobody wants to gonna listen to you when you speak because maybe you stumble too much? Is that the future you want to create? Because know that you can practice, right? There's an opportunity to practice public speaking, so that way you learn how to use your voice or body language, your words, tone, whatever it is, to help you to have people be engaged with you. And likewise, you can have other statements that you can use in speaking to your friend or whoever, so that you get the support, or you can share your thoughts and feelings in a way that your friend can accept and perhaps change the way he or she communicates with you, right? So really, there is a way to get unstuck, but you have to make sure that your thoughts and your statements don't make you feel like you have to be stuck. That's where, think to yourself, whatever the challenge is in your mind, you can say, like, is this thought or this statement that I'm thinking, is this the future that I want to create? And likewise, if somebody's yelling at you and, saying, X, Y, and Z, what have you, likewise, you can say, well, is that the statement that you really want to say to create the future that you want for us? Perhaps the person said a very hurtful statement or said something out loud, and you're like, what? And so you can easily turn it back and say, well, is that the statement that you want to say to create the future that you want for our friendship or relationship or whatever it is? Or you just said that statement, or you said that thought out loud. Is that what you want to create? Because that sometimes will help the person go, yeah, that is what I want to create. Okay, then it's fine. All right, then that's what's going to happen then. Or it might actually cause a person to pause. Like, well, no, that's not what I want to create for our friendship or relationship or whatever it is. Well, then let's change the words, or let's change the way we are now interacting. Just realize that you're going to have challenges, but know that you don't have to be stuck. And one of the reasons we're sometimes stuck is by our thought and the statements that we say to ourselves. But we can get unstuck when we start to really focus and be mindful of our thoughts and statements, and then ask ourselves, is that the future that we want to create? So for you, you are the main character. You are the main character in this story. So whatever challenges you are facing, ask yourself, is that the future that I want to create? Okay, you ask yourself that. And if the answer is no, then think of other ways. Then other possibilities will come up. All right. So that is the magic phrase to deal with challenges. One more time. Ask yourself, is this statement or thought the future I want to create? Next time you face up with a challenge, I hope that statement helps you to get unstuck. All right, and create the future that you want. Okay, so if you or anyone you know struggle with communicating with your thoughts, feelings, and desires, or struggle with communication breakdowns, be sure to visit my website, GraceSOULutions.com. That's GraceSOULutions.com, to see how you can book a free complimentary session with me. It's totally free. no obligation whatsoever. This could change your life forever.